you dropped out of high school. Fast forward a couple years. Now you're on fucking stage with some big names. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I don't care. I can't do things that I don't want to do. I'm sitting in school and I'm like, why am I doing this?
Like, when in real life am I going to use fucking calculus?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I watched my mom struggle. At an early age, I was like, okay, I gotta help my mom. Like I remember like sneaking dollars into her purse. She'd give me lunch money. I would save it and then kind of give it back to her. I was trading my life for money. I was trading my marriage for money. I was trading my kids' relationship with my kids for money because it sounds cool. Oh yeah, wake up at 4 and work till 8. I had wife and kids. When the freak am I with them?
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
You guys do an event every quarter.
Yeah. We do an event almost every month, but like a big event every quarter.
And there's a lot of behind the scenes that we don't see because you guys make it look super simple.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I bet you there's a lot of chaos. And it's like,
yeah.
But now that I think you probably become more systematic.
Exactly, yeah. It's not
that it's like not.
It's not chaos, but it just feels like it.
Uh-huh.
Because it's like a little overwhelming when you're like, there's so many people. What if this happens? What if that happens? But then there's also a lot of money on the line. So we spent about $500,000 to throw that event. So it's not, you know, oh, we're just chilling. It's like, bro, there's
Let me ask you this. When you're on stage with some big hitters, how does that make you feel? Because I'm gonna give people a little background story. I mean, maybe you
Are we going already? Okay.
Yeah, we're going already.
Okay.
Shit. You dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
And as a dropout, fast forward a couple years, now you're on fucking stage with some big names.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Honestly, I don't care.
Honestly, there you have it, folks. You don't give a shit. That was a funny
It's true. No, for real. I just don't care. Like, my goal is not to feed my ego. So usually I go up there for a reason. Like, hey, like, I'm gonna sit here and teach them how to do real estate, and hopefully I inspire someone to like go out and do it. But I'm not up there like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm the shit. I don't care. I really don't care at all.
Because I was telling you earlier, you look pretty calm. And you look like you had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I don't know if, you know, maybe Ryan, you know, helps you out here and there, but I'm like, man, this guy's pretty fucking calm up there. I would fucking be like, what the fuck? There's like thousands of people here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's super dope. So let's back it up a little.
All right, let's back it up.
You know what I mean? So when you dropped out, I'm sure real estate wasn't on your mind. Like, you were like, is there a specific reason why you didn't just want to, you know, finish high school or like?
Yeah. So I think I have some sort of like personality disorder. I don't know if it's like deviance. I don't know what it's called, but I can't do things that I don't want to do. Like, if I truly believe what I'm doing is not worth it, or I just don't believe in it, I can't do it, even till this day. So like, I'm sitting in school and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, literally, I'm like, when are we going to go over that? When am I going to use MX plus 2 equals 5? You know, I'm memorizing these boats of like Christopher Columbus, and now he didn't even like find America supposedly. So like, history keeps changing. I'm just like, what is the point of all this? So I just couldn't do it.
Like, when in real life am I going to use fucking calculus?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I would ask, I would be like, hey, like, when is this going to come up? And they're like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if I get a job as a construction worker, does this apply? And they're like, and then I just like, I kind of lost faith in school about the 8th grade. I was just like, this ain't it. And I feel like everyone's kind of just doing what they're told. And I just couldn't do it.
But I just think that says a lot about you. So you were such a forward thinker at that age.
Yeah.
What 8th grader was really thinking about, like, am I going to use this shit that I'm learning in history class?
You didn't think that?
No, I was just too busy like, man, which one of these girls I want to go take on a date? Which one of these girls I want to go buy some fucking Flaming Hots?
Yeah.
Because that's what they were selling in our fucking school, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking like, am I going to apply this when I'm 20? And
really,
you know, I wasn't thinking like that at that age.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about you, bro.
When did you start to think like that?
I think at 18.
Okay, at 18.
At 18 is when I was
high school, right?
I was already out of high school. My girlfriend at the time was pregnant, and I'm like, all right,
damn.
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
It's time to get serious.
Yeah.
I'm no longer just responsible for me.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'm responsible for another human being.
Yeah.
And I think that hit me so hard that I'm like, all right, all this shit that I'm doing, this shit ain't it. You know? That's when it changed for me.
Yeah. So a little backstory. So I moved to Vegas as a child when I was like 5, right?
From where? From here?
From Puerto Rico.
Oh, shit. Oh,
yeah. Boricua, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So
that's where you get the beer from?
Exactly. So I moved with my mom, right? My mom was a single mom. Okay. I don't know if you know the story, but it was my mom, me, and my little sister. Okay. And I watched my mom struggle, like crying, not being able to pay the bills, stressed out, pissed off at me, you know, because she's stressed out because of everything else. So at an early age, I was like, okay, I got to help my mom. Like I remember like sneaking dollars into her purse that, you know what I'm saying? She'd give me lunch money. I would save it and then kind of give it back to her. I would not eat at lunch. So like at an early age, I was like, I got to do something. So when we're in school, I'm not thinking about all this crap. I'm like, I got to do something. Dang. So that's kind of like what I think really helped my entrepreneurial mindset, because I was just like, I can't just like, it's not all good. I can't just go home and just like we're just chilling.
And that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Versus somebody like me that.
Yeah. But your mindset shifted when you started to have the kid. So you went through the same mindset I did, but I was going through it like in elementary school. So that's, yeah.
And I think reality sinks in sometimes, and you're like, man, I can't be fucking sit here and fucking be in recess all fucking
playing video games,
all fucking pumped up.
Yeah.
And then I get to go home and see my mom struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, she's working 2 jobs and, you know, she's grinding it out. And I'm just like, so at an early age, I was like, okay, how do I make money? Like, I would ask my teacher, like, how do I, like, is this going to apply? Can I use this to make money? I would sell like flowers. I would literally do whatever to kind of hustle since I was like in elementary school.
And that just kept on getting better and better and better as time progressed.
Kind of, yeah.
You know? Yeah. So then, okay, now you drop out of high school.
Yeah.
What's next after that?
Well, I dropped out of high school and then I was just doing drugs. So as a teenager, then I started getting into like smoking weed and then drinking alcohol and then doing ecstasy and coke and blah, 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 blah. Pretty much whatever you could think of besides like crack and heroin. So
that's where we draw the line, guys.
Yeah. I had standards. I was like, I will not do crack.
As long as we don't do heroin, we're pretty good.
Yeah. So I was addicted to doing drugs, but I was like selling drugs and like doing all hustling, making money. And then I had my son at 19, my firstborn. And then once I had him, I was like, okay, I have to like get like better at real jobs. So then I started working like 2 or 3 jobs, and then that snowballed into like entrepreneurship.
How do you transition from, all right, I'm partying, I'm fucking smoking weed, doing all kinds of shit, which we all went through shit like that.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
You know,
and if you're going
I can only speak it for myself, you know what I'm saying?
And if you're going through that right now, you should not be doing that. Let's make it clear. Yeah, wake up.
I mean,
I'm not judging you.
I'm not judging you.
But everyone else is.
I mean, it wasn't. But it's not cool. You might think it's cool at the time because we did.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too.
But it's not. It's not. That's how you got to snap out of it and get your shit together. But it has to do a lot with the people you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah. It was 100% the people I was around with.
So when you transition from all that shit to, oh, shit, I'm going to be a father.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm responsible for another human being. Mm-hmm. Essentially, that's what it is. And not just temporary.
Yeah.
This is forever.
Yeah, we're locked in.
Locked in.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, now I want to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Take me through that path.
So 19, had my son, and then me and my oldest son's mom did not get along. So it was like a quick
Oh, so it wasn't from your current marriage.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No.
Dude, we're alike, bro.
So now I'm married, yeah.
Damn,
now
dog. We're like kind of alike right now.
Oh, yeah, hella.
I don't know about the beard, though, but aside from that, anyways.
But so me and my son's mom did not get along, right? We were together for a very short time. And went through all that drama. I'm 19 years old. And then I kind of just became like a functioning addict. So I would like go to work. I would work 2 to 3 jobs, but I would be like getting high all day. So I'm like smoking weed, take a shower, go to work, get off a job, smoke weed, clean up, go to another job. So I did that for like years, from like 19
Very
to
functioning
like
though.
Yeah, very functioning. Very
Damn.
functioning.
That takes effort.
It takes a lot of effort.
Fuck.
It takes
All right.
yeah, so I had hustle, but I just didn't have discipline. So I would hustle, but I just needed to be like out of reality for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that's like a curse in my family, because my father and my grandfather are the same way. And they might be still to that way this day till today. But I just didn't want to be in reality. So I'd be at working, but I'm like high. And then I'm like, everything I did, I went to the gym, I was high. I went out, I was high or drunk. And then eventually when I met my wife, then my standards rose again. And I was just like, why am I like high all the time when she's just normal? She's just like, you know what I'm saying? When you go from being like kind of like a drug addict to being around a sober person, you're like what? Like you don't want to get. Do you want to smoke before we take the kids to the park?
You just want to be sober and like enjoy life like a regular person?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
You start reflecting.
Exactly. So, well, first, yeah, she would party a little bit, but then she kind of like, it was like moderate light partying where I'm just like, dude, let's have some beers before we take the kids to the park. And she's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I was. I was that type of person. Yeah. And my wife was like,
no.
Yeah. So eventually that's when I broke out of like drugs and addiction to like alcohol and stuff like that. Okay. But I was like 25, 26.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you think the drugs and everything that you were doing were kind of like, in a sense, self-medicating some of the traumas or some of the things you've been through or you've experienced?
I don't know. So I think there's a couple things. I think one, I do believe in like generational curses or generational addictions. That's what my pastor would say, is the generational addictions. Okay. So like my father smoked weed and did drugs till I don't even know when, right? I remember being an adult and my father still smoking weed and doing all that stuff. Damn. My grandfather, who's in his 70s, like the last Thanksgiving I was with him a few years ago, he was the one bringing like the weed and all that stuff to the family house. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy still to this day. And I love him and he's still great.
Shit.
So like my family has been like that. So that's number one. Number two, I think when I was younger, I just wanted to escape reality. So that's what I'm saying. I just didn't want to like deal with like the anxiety and all the emotional things that were going on inside of me. So I'm just like getting high and then just being in my own world. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Is that what it was for you?
Yeah. And well, for me, I think I was escaping a lot of things, you know? And I think nobody wants to deal with problems.
Yeah.
Sober.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck wants to deal with the problem sober? At least that's what I thought.
Yeah. When you're young.
Like when I was young.
Yeah.
Like, who boring. Deal with your issues sober? Like that must suck.
Yeah.
That's the fucking healthiest way. Damn it. You know, it's the only way to deal with your issues. But I think at the time, I was just so consumed with being numb.
Yeah.
That it didn't make sense until it made sense. I don't know that kind.
What ages did you like struggle with that?
13 through 19.
Okay.
Because my son was born when I was 19.
Oh, so we both had to get a 19.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So then I was like, all right, can't be high
all the time.
with your child, right?
Yeah.
Bro,
I used to.
I mean, no judgment on people, but I'm just saying, like, no.
Yeah.
I can't be that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, but it took me a while to leave alcohol, though.
Yeah. What
Like,
about?
I left weed and all the other stupid shit, but alcohol, it was a little bit harder.
Where did you get the idea or the influence to do it, and what did your parents do to like prevent it or stop it, or did they not just care?
Well, gonna be very, very honest here, right?
Throw them under the bus.
We don't lie in True Hustle. I'm Mexican.
Okay.
So all my uncles. The funny part is that my parents don't drink. They don't smoke. They don't do shit.
Yeah.
So that's what I was throwing in my face. Like, what kind of example? Like, we're giving you a perfect example. We don't do any of this shit. Like, why you got to do it? Well, because my uncle gave me beer at 5 when I was 5. Like,
really?
That type of shit. Like, all my uncles were, like, always drinking and fucking, and I just felt that was normal.
Oh.
You know?
Okay.
So it's not like I experienced, like, oh, my dad beating up my mom drunk. I didn't go through none of that.
Yeah.
They didn't do none of the shit. All they did was work.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd seen outside influences.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
It's
this is normal. This is what we do.
Yeah.
It's cultural. And my friends, we all thought that was the norm.
Yeah.
So.
Where was this at, in LA or what?
Yeah, right here in Huntington Park.
Oh, okay.
What?
HP, yeah.
HP, baby.
That makes sense.
So, I felt like that was normal, but it's not normal.
Yeah.
At all. Like, that should not be, you know what I mean? But I just think that my parents probably, at the time, they probably felt like they had no, like, how do we deal with this fucking guy?
Did they tell you
He's
to
out of
stop?
control. Yes.
And you just didn't stop?
Nah, I was just like,
You weren't scared of your dad?
I was terrified of my dad.
So
I would have to be low key. Like,
oh, okay.
we would drink at my friend's house, and then we would fucking pay the homeless guy outside the liquor store to buy us the beer, that type of shit. So I had to hide a lot of the shit from my dad.
Oh, okay.
So he's not aware until now because he watches every episode. He's like, hijo de la chingada. Like, you were doing what? I'm like, Dad,
I'm 40.
look at me. Yeah. I'm successful. Let bygones be bygones. He's like, motherfucker.
That's so funny.
So, yeah. So, real estate.
Yeah.
I
Transition to
love real estate. So then you had your son.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're like, you know what? Entrepreneurship is my calling. Or did you figure it out, or did you stumble upon that?
No. So I just thought you just work more to make more money. That's what I thought. So we could touch on this later, but instead of like working harder, now I work different. But back then, I'm just like, work harder. So if I work at I worked at Pizza Hut, I made $5 an hour. I'm like, okay, well, I'm capped here at 8 hours. If I get another job that I could work 8 hours, then that's like twice as much money. So I just did that for like 5 years. I literally worked 2 to 3 jobs for 5 years straight, like nonstop. And I saved every dollar. So I was extremely cheap. Like I'm not buying Gatorade from the store cheap. Like extremely cheap.
So you are what in the Latino community would call a codo.
Yeah.
Oh,
everyone used to call me codo. Yeah.
But now he has a lot of money, so he better buy lunch.
Yeah. I'm not cheap anymore, but I was extremely frugal. Like I wouldn't buy food. Like I'm eating where if there's food here, I'm gonna eat a little bit and that's it.
I got you. We're gonna take it.
Go look it out.
I get discounts next
Yeah.
time. So I got you
KFC,
some bomb ass food.
yeah.
No, not that.
Okay.
The marketplace.
Okay.
KFC,
Okay.
no, I can't do you like that, my boy. You look like you're in shape.
Okay.
So we
Try
gotta
it.
feed you something healthy.
Yeah.
So then you saved all your money, and then
Yeah. And then I invested into a barbershop, and that's where like my entrepreneurship started. So people are like,
because you have no hair.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Okay,
like, barbershop with what hair? But I bought a barbershop for a friend of mine as an investment. I was supposed to make a return, and that barbershop ended up failing. And during the process of it failing, I was sitting in the barbershop one day, and I'm like, dang, like I don't know if you've ever experienced a business failing, but it's like a slow, gradual thing. So I'm just watching employees leave. The landlord is literally taking me out on lunch and like, hey, like, you guys aren't really paying rent. Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, I just literally just watching it just drop. And a guy came in one day. He had a big Nixon watch, and he had a Mazda, and he was there like around 11 or 12. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This guy's like here in the middle of the day, right? And I was like, dude, what do you do? He's like, oh, I do real estate. I was like, damn. Ooh. I was like, how much do people in real estate make? He's like, oh, like 50 to 60,000. I was like, damn, 50 to 60,000, and you only work one job.
And that was back when?
That's like 2015.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, 2014, 2015, around there. And I was like, dude, how do I get into real estate? He was like, oh, there's like a school up there. You just go get your license and then you sell houses. So I was like, cool. So then I signed up for the school, and I'm like, all right, this business is about to fail. I'm gonna do something else, right?
Okay.
And then I remember my teacher at the time. His name was Teddy. He's like this fat old white guy, right? So funny, big character, right? He was like, I never watched YouTube or like motivational crap, right? So I'm still just like street guy that works a bunch of jobs, right? And doing drugs, right? So I'm in there high one day, and he goes, if you want to be to have a good life, you can't be cheap. You know, if you eat cheap food, you're gonna get cheap results. If you give cheap effort, you're gonna get cheap results, just going off, right? And he's like, I made $100,000 my first year in real estate. And I was like, this guy made $100,000? I've never heard of anyone making $100,000. Like, I'm thinking like $40,000 is like, you're doing well. So during his speech, because he was like, if you have a cheap car, it's because you're just cheap, and you're going to have a cheap life, and you're going to get cheap results, and you're going to have a cheap wife and cheap kids and cheap health. And I was like, damn. So I left the class, and I went and got a BMW. I went and leased a BMW. And again, I was the cheap guy. I was the extremely frugal guy, not paying for Gatorades. We would go to the club. I'm not paying for drinks. Like, I'm like extremely frugal. I went and leased a brand new BMW. It was like a 528, and it was my first nice car where the music. Yeah.
Back then, it was like, oh shit.
From going from a Corolla, I had a Dodge Intrepid before that. That was like, I don't even.
Intrepid.
Like, that shit used to turn off. It was leaking coolant. So I went and got that car. I'm like, damn, like the music sounds good. It drives fast. It has
great.
Yeah, I feel like a baller.
Leather seats.
You know, the windows, you push a button. It's not like the roll downs. So I leased that car, and I drove back to the school, and I was like, hey, Teddy, like, I really believe in what you said. I went and got a car. Like, what do I do? And he was like, all right, well, just finish the school and then join our brokerage. So I didn't understand he was like recruiting because I was just so new, right? So long story short, got my real estate license, but then I found this young guy that was like a good looking guy. He had a bunch of, at the time, what I thought were like beautiful women that worked for him. His name was Craig Tan. I heard about him. I walked in his office. I was like, Craig, I want to work for you. Thank God he let me work for him. And that's what started my career as a realtor. And I started off as a realtor before I transitioned to a real estate investor.
Okay, let's talk about that transition, because I've heard you say, it's like, I hated being a realtor.
I hated being a realtor. I hate realtors.
You know what?
Most of them.
I just like 95% of them.
Yeah. I would say a good 90%.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're fucking iffy. Even he'd be like, damn, fool, but aren't you a realtor? I was like, bro, but you don't know what I know.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's just
crazy.
We could get into that.
Yeah, we get into that.
So, but, okay. So you hated being a realtor.
I hated being a realtor, but I was making a lot of money as a realtor.
Did you use that money to invest into real estate, or were you being like the other realtors spending that shit?
So first 6 months, let's say first year, I made like $150K, right? I was balling. I just, because again, I took this work ethic of working 8 hours a day. And then I remember showing up to the office the first day. I'm like, all right, I'm a realtor. I'm about to work. I don't even know what work is as a realtor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no concept. Like, when you get out of real estate school, you don't actually know what it is to do real estate. They don't tell you you're about to cold call and door knock. They just teach you like
I'm about to wear out my knuckles knocking on doors.
Well, I didn't know that. I just show up like, hey, I'm ready to work. What do? Do I like get on the computer? And my broker was like, all right, you got a cold call. So I was like, all right, I'll cold call, right? So I start cold calling, and first person that answers, I just hang up on them. I'm like, shit, like that's scary. Like, all right, what do I do? I was like, is this it?
We all been through that.
Yeah.
Anybody that's been in real estate and went the traditional route, we all been through that shit.
Yeah. So
I hung up on the first one.
Did you?
Hell yeah.
Oh, we're like
I was fucking scared.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
yeah.
The fuck is another person? Fucker, just say something. I hung up the phone.
So I start cold calling, and then while the first week I start cold calling, I'm like getting leads, right? And I'm noticing the office is empty. And I'm like, where is everyone? Like, and this is not a small brokerage. This is Berkshire Hathaway. Like, this is a few hundred agents that work at this big ass office, and I'm the only one in there. My team lead's in there with his assistant. I'm out in the bullpen just cold calling my cell phone.
But did you have a list, or were you using a dialer?
I just had papers at first, just
old
papers,
school.
Old school. Yeah. Just listed, just sold.
I went to that.
Yeah. Just like, hey, call one by one and highlight them. And I'm calling with my cell phone. I don't have a dialer. I'm literally like this, like just calling all day. My phone would get hot, and it would like, I couldn't even put the phone to my face because my phone would get hot because I'm just calling, right? Wow. So long story short, I started balling out, right? Because I started getting good at cold calling. I remember after my first year, we switched brokerages in the middle of the year because my team lead started his own brokerage, right? So I got a W-2 or W-9, whatever that tax form is from Berkshire Hathaway. It was like, you made $150K your first 6 months. I was like, I made $150K this year, and I saved none of it. I blew all of it. I took all my friends out.
You were having the baller effect.
I was having the baller effect. I'm talking about like, I'm like, if we're friends and I'm like, let's go out. You guys are like, nah. I'm like, I'll pay.
Steak? Tomahawk?
Yeah.
I got you, dog. You see my W-2, homie?
Yeah. So I blew it all. Like literally, I just blew it all. I was just partying, going out to clubs in Vegas, just blew it all. And then I was like, okay, I got to like reel it back in. Cause I went from like extremely cheap to extremely irresponsible. And then eventually, got responsible. I got up to making $500,000 a year as a realtor. And then I was just like, okay, like this is good, but I've heard of people making millions flipping houses. That's how I came across Ryan Pineda. And then he started teaching me how to flip houses. And then I just transitioned to flipping and wholesaling and buying rentals rather than just being a realtor.
Despite the fact that you were pretty successful as a realtor.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, not a lot of realtors make $500,000.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
There's only a few.
I was the top agent at Intero Real Estate at the peak when Danny Morell and Anthony were running it.
Oh, before? Okay.
Yeah, in the Rancho office, the real estate mecca. I was the number one agent. And I was just like, all right, like this ain't it.
Usually when I would get calls from an Intero agent.
You already know.
Like, who? Where? Intero with who? Oh, hang up on this motherfucker right here, dog.
That's so funny.
Because you guys had that. I mean, I don't know how you would fit it. Okay, anyways. But I'm saying like.
I was in the culture.
And I'm like, nah, dog. That's a different type of culture, dog.
Yeah.
You know, but anyhow,
I
got blindsided by that. I had to say something, dog.
That's so
Do you want me to fix the mic so I can put it up?
I'm good,
You good? Okay, fuck. I forgot what I was going to say, dog. But
talking crap about
okay,
Intero.
so then you gave that up to start flipping. Why?
100%.
Because you seen there's way more money in flipping.
Yeah.
Right? So this is not a secret.
Of course.
And I think dealing with clients and dealing with that side of real estate, that shit could get stressful.
Yeah, I guess if the people of this podcast learn anything from this podcast, right, is sometimes you have to work different, not harder, right? Work different, not harder. So what I learned from meeting Ryan and other investors, they're making 7 figures a year, $1 million a year, doing less transactions. As a realtor, I'm like, I got to do 100 transactions and I might gross $1 million. They're doing 30, 40 transactions. At the time, I was already doing 60 transactions a year. So perspective, I'm like, dude, I could do less transactions and make more money. And was it scary? Sure. Like, okay, you're leaving something to go do something else. That's scary. But I've always just had faith that no matter what I try to do, I will make it happen. So I just slowly transition from being a realtor to being a real estate investor.
I just think that there comes that switch or that transition or that light bulb that switched on. Like, okay, I closed 37 deals.
Yeah.
Right? By myself.
Yeah.
With one buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Hell no.
Yeah, that's how I was.
This is just so much.
Yeah, that's how
So
I was.
I'm like, how do I become more efficient?
Yeah. How do I work differently?
How do I work differently? But see, speaking for myself, I've known hard work my whole life. That's all I know.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's hard to go from that mindset to like, why don't you just be a little bit smarter? Work smarter.
Yeah.
Work just because you're not hands-on doesn't mean you're lazy.
Yeah.
Like it's just you have to switch the mindset
100%.
and understand that this way is more efficient. It's not less work.
Yeah.
It's just you're being more efficient with your time.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan always speaks on that.
100%.
So I'm sure that he instilled those values and that mindset change.
100%. Yeah. And it was Ryan, and I could honestly say it was a couple other entrepreneurs that I was around where I'm like, I am for sure outworking this person. For sure. Like I said, bro, I used to work 2 to 3 jobs for years. People don't understand that. Go work 2 to 3 jobs at a time, full-time jobs, not little baby jobs, full-time jobs for years. And then I get into real estate. I took the same work ethic. Like, hey, instead of working 2 jobs, I could work twice as hard in real estate and I just will make so much money. So I would wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I would go out. And during this time, I became a successful realtor in Vegas, and then I moved to California, and I became a successful realtor in California. So I switched markets, right? When I first moved to California, I used to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would go out and leave door hangers at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning when it's dark outside. I would leave door hangers, go to the office at 7, start cold calling at 7, and I would just work until I had to go home, like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. I would call until people were like, why the hell are you calling me so late? Because I heard Grant Cardone say that one time. So I know what it is to do hard work. And then I got to the point, I'm like, dude, Ryan is making more than me, and he is not working past 5. And he is not working on the weekends. I am hustling hard, and he's making more money than me. And there was other investors. I don't know if you know Wanagary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's at Remax now. But same thing. I'm like, this fool's making millions of dollars, and I am grinding my ass off for $500K. This doesn't even make any sense. And then every New Year's, I'm like, all right, well, if typical realtor, I did 25. All right, next year I'm going to try to do 35. And then I do 35. And then next year I'm going to try to do 50. And then next year, and then I got to the point where I'm like, damn, dog, like, how many more transactions do I got to do?
Yeah, because you have to factor in that, you're going to double in transactions, but you're going to double in stress and
100%.
time.
Yeah, or maybe triple. Because
I would be pissed.
Yeah.
Because I was a cold caller. And I would be like working my ass off. And then I would see all the other realtors posting that they were at lunch, having their best life. And I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't scale this business the way I want it to if all I'm doing is just dialing.
Oh, yeah. Just 1-to-1.
So, yeah, I agree with you, bro.
Yeah.
That shit is just, and then you start comparing apples to apples, like, all right, well, we're kind of in the same line of work.
Yeah.
How the fuck is Ryan making 3 times what I'm making?
100%. And working less. I would rather make less and work less. I would have took $500K and had a normal schedule than $500K and I was trading my life. I knew I was trading my life for money. And not just my time, I was trading my marriage for money. I was trading my kids' relationship with my kids for money because it sounds cool. Oh, yeah, wake up at 4 and work till 8. I had wife and kids. When the freak am I with them, right? On weekends, I'm doing open houses. I'm like, if a and I used to live in like Chino, right? Mm-hmm. If a lead calls me at 3 talking about they want to go look at a house in Hemet that's 2 hours away, I would drop what I'm doing and I'm driving to Hemet. And I would have clients ghost me. I literally just hustled. I should be the True Hustle podcast. I hustled my face off. I even got sick. My thyroid got messed up. And I think it was from stress. My doctor told me like I had to take thyroid medicine for the rest of my life. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I just stopped stressing as much and my thyroid got better. So I literally gave it all to real estate to be successful.
That's a
but real estate doesn't love you back.
Moment. Yeah. Okay. You guessed right. This episode is brought to you by the JR Group. If you're looking to buy, refinance, or invest in any type of real estate, give us a call at 323-352-7946. Now let's get back to the episode, baby. You go through all that shit.
Yeah.
At what point did you like say, all right, Ryan, me and you, bro Chacho, we need to sit down and I can't do this shit no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like at what point did that happen?
Yeah.
And how did you link up with him and how did all that wealthy stuff happen?
So like long story short, I heard about him before like social media. Mm-hmm. So I heard this guy was flipping 100 houses a year in Vegas. I'm living in California. I'm like, oh, he'll probably help me out because I'm in Cali, so I'm not even like competing with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, can you mentor me? He was like, no. I was like, all right. So I was like, I got to rethink my plan now, right? And at the time, nobody was trying to help me. Nobody. I could honestly say nobody. Any realtor, anyone in this SoCal market in the beginning did not want to help me. I went to my broker and I was like, hey, Mr. Broker, I want to start flipping houses. He was like, Brian, you don't want to flip houses. You need to get a buyer's agent. And that way you double your production. You're really good at calling expireds. Keep doing that and buy one rental a year. And then you'll retire in like 10 to 15 years. I was like, I don't want to do that shit. What the hell? Like, yeah. And no one wanted to help me. So long story short, I kept following up with Ryan. And then eventually when he launched a paid thing, I was literally the first person to pay. I didn't ask for a discount. I didn't ask for details on what are the deliverables. I believed that he could actually help me. So I went and I paid him. It was 10 grand at the time. And then he started mentoring me, and that's when my flipping and wholesaling career blew up.
That's crazy.
Did you experience that?
I was always buying and holding.
Yeah.
But I understood that this cannot be my life.
Yeah.
I cannot be fucking dialing for dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, all realtors probably.
Dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars till 6.
Yeah.
I gave up a lot, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to give that.
Yeah.
What I gave up to get me where I'm at now, I'm not willing to give that up.
Yeah.
At this stage in my life. So I had,
How long did you give up?
A good 10 years.
Dang. That's a lot.
I had a job and I was still doing real estate.
Oh. Okay.
So I had both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both. And it's probably longer than that.
Yeah.
You know? But I was always MIA because I was always working overtime. Mm-hmm. I still had my deals, which I would run from my 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. And I was on the phones, boom, 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 on my breaks. So it's like I was making a lot of fucking money, bro.
Like how much?
Just from the W-2, I was raking in like 170.
Okay.
And from my real estate, let's add another 250, 300.
Okay. Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot back then.
That is a lot. Yeah.
That's a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just from the W-2 was a lot.
Yeah. But do you make more now?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
So that's it. Again,
well,
the message here is work different, not harder.
Exactly. So I think that you need to. It's okay to pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
and do and put on your thinking cap and work differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People think that, oh, no, just because I'm working smarter, that means I'm slacking.
No,
it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you start flipping. Mm-hmm. How many flips have you done at one time?
I have no idea. Maybe like 20.
At
that.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
20 flips.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
All at the same time.
All at the same time, yeah. Somewhere around there, like 15
you're a
to
fucking
20.
gangster, dog.
Yeah, but then I ran into the same. So my mindset when I first started flipping houses, right, was like with realtor, with everything, I'm like, I got to go all in, right? So my problem was with flipping houses, there's a finance element it's not the same as being a realtor. So as a realtor,
yeah. We're going to get into that. That's one of my, you know.
So as a realtor, you pay for a dialer. Your expenses are extremely low, right? It's extremely low. You pay when you sell, right? You pay the broker, you pay your TC, you pay all these people when you sell. As an investor, you're putting money in first. So my mindset in the beginning was, I'm going to go bankrupt or I'm going to become a millionaire. That was my mindset. I was like, I'm willing to put everything on the line. And if this fails, I will be okay with it. Like, I was literally gambling. I'm like playing high stakes blackjack with my savings. That's what I was doing in the beginning. I wasn't even investing. I was really gambling. That's what I was doing. And what happened was you quickly run into just finance problems where you're just like, dude, I don't even have any money and I have hard money payments coming up. Like, I'm like hustling, trying to figure out where to get money from. I'm asking my wife for money. I'm like piecing everything together. And I almost lost everything like a couple times. But then what happened was in 2020, we all know what happened, right? Mm-hmm. And real estate just started booming. And I knew, because when I was a realtor, like to go back when I first became a realtor, all the realtors would be like, man, before the crash, it was so good. People would just be calling the office, asking for loans and to buy a house. And I would just turn them down because I had so many clients. And I'm like, damn, I can't wait till that comes again, because I know real estate is cyclical, right? So when the pandemic started, I was in Ryan's coaching program, and we had a call. There was like 12 of us, or it wasn't a lot of us. He was like, guys, this is when you're going to get rich. And I was scared. I was like, bro, are you sure? Like, are you sure this is like the time? Like, everything's going down, but the interest rates just got cut to like 0.
Uh-huh.
So he was like, yeah. So he was like, guys, this is when you got to get rich. Buy. So he started buying because I was wholesaling him deals. So I got some cojones and I started buying. And then my 20K profits started turning to 60K profits. So I was like, okay, this is my gold rush. You know, this is like before the crash. This is my time. So I just dumped everything that I had into real estate. And that's when I made like millions of dollars.
But that's when you transition from flipping to buy and hold. Is that what you're referring to?
No, that's when I went just really hard on flipping.
Just on the flipping. Okay.
Yeah, just on flipping. And I was buying rentals at the same time. So I was doing the BRRRR strategy and flipping at the same time. Okay. But I played the cards right because I understood real estate. The problem is people don't understand real estate, so they're gambling. So that's what I was doing at first. I was just gambling. I was just hoping deals made sense. Some of them they would make sense. Yeah, some of them I'm like, please.
I make some fucking.
But then when I saw the interest rates, I was like, oh, this is like shooting fish in a barrel of dynamite. Like, this is where you make money.
I'm still thinking about 20 flips at one time.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
So you were gambling.
I was for sure gambling.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
What financing? What were they all hard money loans?
All hard money. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're my man.
Yeah.
Brian is one, and you were all in on you then. At that point, you were like, "Fuck it, either I'm gonna make it,
or I'm gonna go bankrupt." That's
literally what it.
That's that line is not like a motivational line. That was my head was like, I'm gonna go bankrupt or I'm gonna become a millionaire. Either one is okay. But I'm tired of being like this, like, oh, I make 6 figures guy. Okay. Like, I got tired of that.
All right. Every situation like that will always teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
What did having 20 flips at one time, all with hard money, teach you?
You have to like pay attention to your finances. You have to pay attention to your, especially if you're a business owner. Like I see realtors as kind of like contractors. When you're a business owner and you have hard costs, it's completely different. So I was coming into running a real business, in my opinion, from being a contractor. Because when you're a realtor, you don't pay for the office, you don't pay for the staff, you don't pay for the lights, you don't have like a monthly overhead, just like your little programs that you're paying for. I had like $20,000-$40,000 a month in just hard money. That's just every month, and they take it from your bank account. It's not even like you get to choose. They just take it out. And then I got rehab, and then I got mistakes that come up, and then I got marketing. I had all these things. So I was just like, freak, dude. Like, it was miserable for a little bit.
And somebody that's in the trenches, like me, will have this reaction. Because one flip, there's tons of costs associated with it.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot, yeah.
So there's holding costs. There's rehab costs. There's,
mistake costs, just random stuff.
Shit's going to happen. You drop a wall, some shit's going to, I'm telling you, you're going to find something, right?
Yeah, something's going to come up.
So it's just so...
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, times 20?
Yeah, it was a lot.
You're a fucking G. You were going to make it. You were destined.
Or I was going to go bankrupt, dude.
Either or.
Either one.
And it was a good 50-50.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 70-30. No.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking coin toss.
So this is another lesson that I've learned from being around a bunch of millionaires, even Alex Hormozi and Layla Hormozi. There's a time where you have to go all in. Every opportunity has a window, right? And when I went to Alex and Layla's Hormozi workshop, they talked about like the people that they know that made millions and billions, even them, they found a small opportunity and they milked the crap out of it. When they figured out Gym Launch and running these ads and making all this money, they're like, oh, we have to freaking just milk the crap out of this situation because it's not going to last forever. So that's what my mindset was. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be that stupid realtor that was like, man, I wish I would have took more clients on. I was like, oh, I'm going to literally just give my life again for 2 years or as long as this lasts, and I'm going to get rich. And that's what happened. But I think a lot of people, they go half in, half out. They're like, oh, I found a flip that makes a good deal. I'm going to do this one. It's going to take me 4 to 6 months, and then I'll do another one. Where I was like, dude, I'm putting every dollar, and I'm putting everyone else's dollar that will give me money into these flips, and it paid off. I could have lost my money and everyone else's money, but obviously that didn't happen.
Well, you didn't.
But it didn't. But it's because I understood the opportunity. Okay. It wasn't, at that point, I wasn't gambling anymore. I understood that, hey, this is a short period of time that I have to take advantage of. But
I think you went from gambling to knowing what you're doing.
Exactly. I speeded my experience.
And I think when you know what you're doing, you could do that type of shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Then you're not gambling. Then you're making
it's no longer a gamble.
Yeah.
It's for sure. It's going to happen. It's just going to take time.
There's going to be hiccups and stuff.
There's going to be hiccups in any fucking business. There's going to be hiccups. But shit, I'm glad it went well. Shit, boy, think we earned some lunch and shit. You know what I'm saying? So how do you transition from, okay, I'm going to flip.
Yeah.
To like, maybe I need to hold some of these properties.
Yeah.
So is there a different mindset?
Oh, for sure.
And at what point did you say, you know what? All right. I need to start holding some of these assets.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back a little bit further, right? I remember because as parents, right? We're parents. Your kids watch what you do, right? Yes. They might not listen to you. They might not respect you. They may not like you, but they watch what you do, right? Exactly. So when I was younger, my mom bought a house right before the market crashed, right? Okay. I went through the experience. Realtor come pick us up. I'm in the back of the car.
BMW?
He had like a Nissan, like a little SUV Nissan. It was nice. Cool. He had a little Starbucks cup all the time. I'm like, this guy's doing good, right? And then I watched my mom buy a house. Mm-hmm. And because I watched my mom buy a house, I always understood like, oh, you have to buy a house and then you have to try to pay it off. So then you don't have a mortgage. So I always had that idea. So when I was a realtor still, as soon as I was in being a realtor for 2 years, I bought a house.
Okay.
I bought my mom a house, and then I had a short sale her house. I ended up like paying to sell her house.
Okay.
So I did that. That was like 2017, right? As soon as I bought that house, I went and bought another house, and then I moved my mom to that house, and I rented out the first house, right? And then I moved out here, and then I bought me and my wife a house. So I've been buying houses this whole time. Okay. It wasn't like realtor, then flipper, then buy and hold. I've been slowly buying houses.
Okay.
But the biggest thing that happened was once I started making $1 million in Southern California, you have to pay taxes. And this
a
is
lot of taxes.
And this is how I know when people are fakes and when they're reals. When they're like, yeah, I made $1 million. And I'm like, how much money are you paying taxes? Oh, I paid like $20K. No, you didn't. Then you didn't make $1 million. Then you're a liar. That's what you are. You're a straight liar because in taxes, you pay taxes on what you net. If you only pay $20K in taxes, you didn't make $1 million.
They might have grossed.
They probably grossed $1 million supposedly.
They in profit net.
Yeah,
$1 million. You are not paying 20 grand.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now.
Have you experienced that yet? Where people are like, "Yeah, I made $500K." And
I experience that all the time because we have, like we do loans.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have people that are like, "Oh, I made this much." I'm like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah.
Wait.
You said 500
or 50? No. That's not what you said.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So that started happening where I'm paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. And then I learned about cost segregation.
Okay.
So then I'm like, oh, okay, I could just buy these properties and cost seg them. So that's when I started really buying houses and cost segging them to depreciate. That's the only time you could really have a significant write-off. When people are like, well, I write off my gas and my phone. I'm like, shut up, bro. You're that's how I know you're lying. I immediately like, oh, I'm gonna put you in this, like, you're the liar. But yeah, so that's when I really started buying more rentals. And now I'm like trying to buy rentals. I flip, wholesale, have some Airbnbs.
But I'm sure that by owning, but now by holding, I mean, you still get the depreciation and which helps.
Oh, 100%. That will helps. Truly bring you down to 20K.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the people that aren't doing that say they are, because I've gotten significant write-offs from like doing cost segregations, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I got like a $900,000 tax write-off from doing cost segregations.
And when you do that, can you spread it out within the 3 years?
Yeah, you could spread it out into multiple years.
So multiple years.
Yeah.
There you have it. I mean, if you are making $1 million net, and you have no assets,
you're screwed.
You're fucked.
Especially here in California.
I mean, I don't know other way to put it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Especially if you're in California, because California will tax the crap out of you on top of the federal government.
Yes.
I paid $100,000 to California 1 year in taxes. To California, not total tax. To California, I paid $100,000.
Well, you paid for the stimulus checks. You paid for the homeless. You paid for.
Yeah, California's crazy. I love California.
You know that I was pissed during like the stimulus check period, because I had to mail my payment. I write a check every 18th, April 18th of what I owe. Mm-hmm. And that's when they started dispersing the fucking stimulus checks, and everybody's bragging about it. And I'm here cutting a check of my hard-earned money.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And they're going to take that money and redirect it somewhere else.
Do you think you'll ever leave California?
I have too much invested here, you know? And I think I've been to a lot of places.
Yeah.
But if I would leave, I would go to a red state. I would either go to Nevada or go to Texas.
Yeah.
It would have to be a red state.
Yeah. Well, Nevada's kind of like purple. So sometimes.
Well, now it's because of everybody leaving here, going over there, taking their bullshit ass. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Texans, they ain't fucking with us, huh?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I land in Texas.
Texas sucks. Let's be real. Nobody wants to live in Texas.
That humidity ain't no joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
But then I could see why they don't like us.
Yeah.
Like they would be like, oh, you're just trying to California my Texas. Get out of here with your bullshit.
Yeah.
You know. So,
I get that too, but nobody lives in Texas because they want to, right? They want to leave California or they can't afford to move to California. California's tough, dude.
You have to have money.
You have to have money. You have to have grit. You have to have grind. You have to be, on your P's and Q's. You're not just like lollygagging.
And then with all the other bullshit that's going on, so I'm just like, it's tough sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. I told my wife like where will we go? She's like, Texas. And then we go to Texas for like a weekend and we're like, hell no. Yeah. Not happening, dog. And then I was gonna buy a house in Texas, in Vegas.
We moved to Vegas. Vegas is cool because there's a lot to do, and people are always flying in and out. Mm-hmm. So like you get a lot of people to visit you. There's like freaking Taylor Swift will be there, Grant Cardone will be there. There's this convention, that convention. There's always stuff going on.
There's always something happening.
Yeah, so there's like not a shortage of like events and restaurants, but bro, it's hot. So like even coming out here today, it's nice to just have a little, I don't know if it's fog or smog, but that little like, oh, okay, it's not 100 degrees. That's nice. Like, even though LA sucks.
He's taking advantage because he's like, he came in shorts.
Oh, yeah. I'm thriving, bro.
Ready for the beach.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, like, you can't beat California. Like, if they could fix the government here, bro, oh my God. California would be, it's already number one, I feel like, in the world, but it would be like way better if they could just fix the little
I think once we turn red.
Should be never. Someone needs to run as a Democrat, but they're a true Republican, and then
we need to bust the okie doke. We need to Kamala this shit up.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is, whatever the fuck her name is. We need to just bust the okie doke. Like, gotcha.
That's so funny.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So, okay, you start buying and holding. You start flipping. When did you start thinking like maybe I could get up in these panels and start teaching what I've been through?
Yeah.
Because that's very difficult. And I complimented you earlier, like, you seem pretty chill up there. And I'm like, fuck, there's so many people here.
Yeah.
Like, how does that, how do you transition from doing all X, Y, and Z to speaking on stages?
I think, so during this time, Ryan taught me, and then I was like, dude, I'll help you coach. So I started coaching people within his company. And then that company started to grow, and he was like, dude, why don't you come in and just be the COO, just run the whole education company? And I was like, okay, cool. So I start leading that company, started doing the sales, marketing, and because I did that, Ryan was like pouring into me more. And then he was like, dude, you gotta, like, at one of the event, without me even knowing, he's like, dude, I'm gonna have you go up and I'm gonna have you do my presentation. And I was like, dog, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do, Like, that's how Ryan is. Ryan just throws you stuff. And it was a 2-hour presentation. Man. This is not like a 15-minute. It was a 2
No warning.
No warning.
No prepping.
No prepping.
That's some gangster shit.
Yeah.
Ryan, you crazy for that one.
Yeah. So I went up, I did the presentation because it's just real estate investing. So I knew what it was.
Oh,
it wasn't,
which makes it easier.
Yeah. It's like if I'm like, hey, go up there right now and talk about loans, like, you could do it. It's not something I didn't know. So that's what I started doing, and then started doing content, and then the event started to grow. And then, just started taking my personal brand more serious. And that's it. But yeah, like, I think for me, I don't care. I'm not someone that's like, I don't care. My job in my head is just to spread the good news. So there's like the real estate good news. There's the Jesus good news. Even when I was like a realtor, I would tell all my other old friends, I'm like, bro, I made 10 grand. I just sold a house. Like, become a realtor. Like, I've brought a lot of people into becoming a realtor. I brought a lot of people into becoming a flipper or wholesaler. I brought a lot of people to Jesus because I'm just willing to share the good news. I'm not trying to like gloat. Like, when I've shown people checks that I've made 100 grand, and I'm like, bro, I'm not showing you this because I'm trying to flex on you. I'm saying you could do this too. Like, just figure it out. But look, this is the opportunity, because when I started, no one told me anything. So that's why I'm, willing to share.
That's usually the case.
Yeah. They don't
Ain't
want
nobody, nobody taught me anything. Nobody was trying to help me. Nobody was trying to do shit.
Yeah.
So now you brought up Christianity and Jesus. How do you incorporate? Okay, well, first of all, let's back it up. I seen you got baptized.
Yeah.
Into the Christian church, right?
Yeah.
What led to that?
So what happened was, I don't know if you've heard the story before. Have you heard it?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay, I'll summarize it. So long story short, I got very financially successful, but I was unhappy. I was still stressed out. I was still ungrateful. I was still just kind of like, I don't understand why I have all these things. I finally reached a point where my house was paid off. I had a nice car. I had a bunch of kids. I had a bunch of animals. I had everything. Everything you could physically want in this world, I had, but I wasn't happy. So I was like, I don't understand why I'm not happy. So Ryan's like, dude, you got to go to church. And I was like, bro, I don't want to go to church. That's not what I want. I want something else. Give me some And
I can see you saying that.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's not my thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember, I'm the deviant personality. So I'm I don't want to go to church and be fake. I don't want to go to church and I watch porn. That's weird. I don't want to go to church and I drink and I get mad. I'm not fake. I will fix those things and then I'll go to church. But then what happened was I went to church one time and the pastor talked about, how shame can prevent you from going to church. And that's what it was for me. I was like, dude, I'm watching porn. I'm this bad person. I don't want to be in here being fake. And he talked about that, how the devil will try to, give you shame to prevent you from going. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, he kind of called out the problem. So then I started going to church, felt the Holy Spirit, got baptized, and then gave my life to Christ and try to live my life through Christ now.
That's dope.
Yeah. What about you? Are you Christian?
Yeah, I got baptized in 2017, 2018.
Okay. Yeah,
that's when I stopped drinking.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
I was because my wife is Christian and, I've seen all the bad shit that alcohol brings nothing good.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
No, at least in excess.
Yeah.
Well, anything in excess is bad, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, help me. I don't think I could do this on my own.
Yeah.
I was like, so I have my wife and I have my kids. I'm like, all right, pour into me, man.
Yeah.
And then I got baptized, and that's when I seen you getting baptized. I went through the same thing.
There you go.
Boom. And I just think everything has been so much better.
Yeah.
Because what you just explained, there's millions of people out there that go through that.
100%.
But they will never say it.
They don't know. They're like, why am I feeling empty? Why? Even and it's funny because a lot of people will hear my story and they're like, well, I want to get to the point where I make a lot of money first, and then I'll give my life to Christ. That's what a lot of young men think. But first of all, you could do both. And you don't need to give your life for the world. That's not necessary. Mm-hmm. You could have a good relationship with Christ and be happy and have joy, peace, self-control, all these things, and make money. I've seen Ryan do it. I've seen a whole bunch of other people do it, but people think they have to choose either or. Mm-hmm. And that was always my mindset. I was like, okay, I'm going to give my life to real estate. Everything else and my wife and kids, they're going to reap the benefits later. But I'm going to, separate them when you could actually have it all at once.
But I think it takes maturity and the right circle of influences for you to understand that.
I would say for sure the community, for sure.
That's
how did you find it? What's your testimony?
To me, when I met my wife, we were, partying, or I was. She only drank because of me.
Yeah.
And then.
You're trying to slip her drinks.
Yeah, come on, be cool. Yeah. She's like, okay, something had to change. Mm-hmm. I couldn't continue to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then she's like, well, come to church with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm Catholic. She's like, just come to church with me. I'm used to going to church in Spanish, bro. Yeah. That's how Mexican I grew up. it was different for me, bro.
Yeah.
People, I always keep it 100. Like going to mass in English was difficult for me.
Why?
Because I didn't, even though I speak perfect English, it's just I praise the Lord in Spanish.
Okay.
So it was
funny.
It's right. Like people will be like, "Oh shit, me too." Yeah, you too, fuckers.
Yeah.
I don't
speak Spanish, so I've never experienced that.
So to me, it's like I remember going to church, to Catholic church with my parents. It was like it was a Sunday thing, and my first language is Spanish.
Yeah.
So I think going to church in English, I wasn't like, no, it's not happening. And she's like, well, okay, well then we'll do it in Spanish. And I was like, all right. But then now I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. So I think that was a big hurdle, but I got past it, and I was like, you know what? All right, I'm all in on this.
But what was the moment?
Like the moment is I think I woke up really hungover one day, and I said, I can't wake up like this ever again. I can't continue poisoning myself.
Yeah.
I think that was the moment. Then I was like, all right, no, this has to end here.
Yeah.
Like every day? Come on, man. Like, how are you productive?
Yeah.
How do you live a righteous life if you wake up feeling like shit?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to maximize my potential?
Yeah.
If I continue to do this to myself? There's nobody to blame.
Yeah.
Only myself.
Yeah.
So then that is when I was like, no more. Jesus, take the wheel. Help me. And that's what did it, dog.
Do you think he helped that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He changed everything. He changed because people think that, kids that grow up in the inner city, like I did, that go through the trials and tribulations that I went through, we think that money's going to come and solve everything. And it doesn't. So that's when, I think with the right circle that had the right mindset with Jesus Christ, there's a lot of factors that would change a lot of the stuff that are wrong in your life. But we think, growing up in the inner city, that money's going to change everything. It's not.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Because perfect example, you were a paid off house, bro. That's a big deal.
For me, yeah, it's something I always wanted.
Oh, for a lot of us, that's a big deal. So, but then you still felt some type of way, right?
Yeah. I thought I'd feel safe.
Yeah.
Like once I don't have a mortgage, I'm gonna feel safe. But no, you just feel like, oh, okay, like what the hell? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
Like, why am I angry?
Yeah, yeah. Why don't I have peace? Well, I never experienced true joy. I was never happy. Yeah, like true joy, like you get synthetic joy from like coffee, from alcohol, from success. You close a sale, you're like, yes. And then that slowly wears away, and then you need to make another sale. And then before you know it, you make a sale, and it's like, or you buy a watch, and then you're like, or you have kids.
That's temporary.
Exactly. And I thought it was weird. I'm like, why do I have a wife and kids and I'm still not happy? Like, I'm happy for them, but I'm not happy. Like I'm happy when my kids are happy, but I'm not happy. And then that was the part where I was like, this is super weird. Like I finally have all the crap. I thought like if I get the Mercedes, I'm gonna feel good. And then that you get the Mercedes, and then like literally within the same day I got my car, I was like, dude, I got this stupid car payment in my garage now. Like, yeah.
But you know what? It's crazy is that I bet you 80% of the people out there go through what you went through.
Probably,
Those type of, no, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because I've gone through that, but it's all internal, right?
Yeah.
Like, all right, everything's great, but it's like, for me, I felt that I was just being ungrateful. Like, man, you're not taking the time to appreciate this? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Then you start going against yourself. Then it's you versus you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you go through that? Like, oh, it's just like you were like having a battle in your mind?
Well, I was just like, dude, I think because I had a lot of like, I don't know if it was trauma in my life, but I was always never like happy, I would never have considered myself a happy person. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I can close a huge sale and everyone's like, Brian, you did so good. And I'm like, yeah, that was like my job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember one time I was at Intero and I was sitting at the kitchen table they had there. And I was like, all right, like, I have all these freaking escrows. Like, this is crazy. Like, it was stressful. And someone's like, dude, I seen a picture of your daughter. She's so beautiful. And I was just like, yeah. And I wasn't paying attention, right? And he was like, hey, I'm gonna say a bad word, but he was like, hey, asshole, I just complimented your daughter. And I was like, what? And he was like, I just said your daughter's beautiful. And you said, yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. And he walked out. But that's where my head was. I'm always thinking of like the next sale, the escrow, is this going to close on Friday? This seller's going to be pissed. Like, my head was just there for years and years and years and years and years and years. And then eventually I got to the finish line, and then it's like, oh, well, you ran the race for nothing because this shit sucks. And then you're just like, damn, like, what the hell? Like, this is weird. Like, I didn't understand. And I would look at other people and they're happy, but I'm not. And I'm like, I don't understand. I was like, oh, this is just how life is. Like, they're not truly happy. They're just acting like it. That's what I thought.
So then you start making shit up in your mind. Like, no, they're just pretending to be happy and they're just like,
yeah,
like me. Like,
yeah.
Or
like, oh, they don't really have a good marriage. They're just acting like it. Because my marriage at the time was rough. My marriage was like really rough. We were like contemplating divorce. We're fighting in front of our kids. We're just like not, because I wasn't there. I was just like I said, that mindset of just like, I'm there, but I have all these things going on. That was my life for like, since I became an entrepreneur.
So then you think what helped that situation was getting baptized and
give my life to Christ. Because then you realize like, oh, like I don't have to carry. I was trying to carry everything on my shoulders, and I thought like, as a man, I have to tough it out. I got to be ridden to the grave, and at least my wife and kids are going to be better off. Like, that's what I thought. That's what I thought a man does.
That's what we all think.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like you were the only one, dog.
Yeah.
Because we were raised, well, for me, it's like, no, man provides, and we're going to grind until we fucking can't even fucking move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
but we'll die of a heart attack. I don't care.
But what good is that gonna? Wait, hold up, you know? And it's like, yeah, there's some changes that got to be made here, you know what I mean? So what I'm glad that you didn't go through divorce, you know?
I know.
And that everything's fine, you know? Yeah. But all through the Lord. So
how do you incorporate the Lord in your day-to-day life?
You know that I can't start my day without a prayer?
Oh, that's good.
I've been doing that since I was like in fucking college. Like, I pray, and I have to pray in my car.
Okay.
This is weird. I don't know. Whatever. That's the place for me.
Don't judge me.
Don't judge me. I wake up. I have the same routine. You know, when I take my daughter to school, then I'm like, oh, morning prayer. So I say my morning prayer. That's how I start my day.
Yeah.
So maybe I should be going to church.
You don't go to church
more often? Yes, but it's sprinkled.
Why? What kind of church you go to?
Christian church.
Like, right here in down. Denominational or like what type?
I don't even know.
Do you read the Bible?
Could you explain that to me? I was saying Bible verses this morning to my daughter because
that's good.
She was practicing for her test. So could you explain that to me? Like,
she has a test?
Yeah, because she goes to Christian school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's good. So then that was actually a beautiful moment for me this morning.
Yeah.
Then I'm like practicing Bible verses with my 9-year-old.
Yeah.
I never thought that we would be doing something like that.
Yeah.
Is that kind of crazy?
Did you just realize that right now? Or?
No, I realized that this morning.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to do like, I recorded us and I was going to like put it on my story, but I'm like, nah.
How old's your daughter?
9.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Another big message that I tell people is you need to go to church. Like, it sucks because I'm such a straight shooter. I should have this poetic explanation on why you should go to church, but church is good for you. It's good to surround your kids with Christian kids. It's good to surround your wives or husbands with other Christian husbands and wives. It's good to have a spiritual mentor like a pastor, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you want to be successful in real estate, you go find a mentor, right? You should have a spiritual mentor. And then once you have a strong relationship with God, it helps everything else.
So what about Bible studies?
Yeah, I believe first, just start going to church. If you're a non-believer or if you're someone trying to like grow spiritually, just find a church. And the thing is, what people do is they go to one church and they're like, I don't like this, and they just quit. You have to go find a church where you're like, this is my home, this is my church, I rock with this pastor, I rock with these people, this is it. And you're not going to church because of them, you're going to church for God, but it helps when you're in an environment that breeds healthy Christianity. So that's the thing that I believe can change anyone's life, is when they find a community to plug into, because it's way easier to do things when you have someone to your left, someone to your right, who are in the same boat, who you connect with, and you guys are all seeking the same thing. Just like when you want to become a successful realtor, you got to find a good office. And when you find that office, you're like, oh, this is great. I like my broker. I like the other people. We have trainings. I like the trainings. I like the atmosphere. This is good. You have to do the same thing with church. And then once you get plugged into the church, then you have to start, reading the word.
I have a Bible, which I haven't read.
You haven't read the Bible?
Oh, I've read like the first, 20, 30 pages. My wife bought me the Bible.
Okay. Does your wife go to church often?
She goes more than I do.
Okay. But
which I'm not proud of.
Do you guys go to a Catholic church or a Christian church?
Christian church.
Okay. Do you like the pastor or not really?
Yeah. Okay. I do.
So what?
Now I'm getting acclimated to being in church.
Yeah.
Not in Spanish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What stops you from going to church every week?
I always have something to do, and that's an excuse. So you know how like people like to BS?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I need to make it a priority.
But why haven't? I'm just curious.
I haven't because that's a good question that I don't want to lie about.
Yeah. That's
it's like I haven't even given any thought of why I'm not there every Sunday at 11.
Yeah. 11's late too. Like that's plenty of time.
I think, she goes to the 10:31. I have a 1-year-old. Like, it's crazy. The household is crazy right now with that little guy running around. So that's a good question, and I don't have an answer. Yeah. Because maybe I haven't made it a priority.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it's not a good excuse, but
it is what it is.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I've learned from Ryan and other like successful men, right? And when I say successful men, that's just not financially, that's like spiritually, their family, right? They have to become leaders, right? So when I first started going to church, my wife didn't want to go. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And I want her to go, and I try to force her to go, but she didn't want to go, right? So then I was like, okay, I talked to Ryan about it. He's like, dude, you got to show up. You got to show up every week, and then she will show up.
She'll follow.
So I started going every week. She starts coming here and there. And then I used to go to the 9:30, and she's like, well, let's go to the 11. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go to the 9:30. If you want to come, you can come. And then I started taking the kids. So now it's me and the kids going to church at 9:30. Yeah. And then what happens is then my wife starts going. And then we're all going to church together. And then what happens is now she's like, hey, we're going to be late. We got to go to church. So I made it a thing. And now we're all on the same boat. So if we don't go to church now, it's weird. It's like, why are we not at church? Because it's like, what else are we doing Sunday morning that's like, we can't go to church? So there's that. And then there's, the Bible is the most sold book ever, right? Why? Why is that? There's obviously something good about it. That's the problem people don't understand. They're like, well, it's like, bro, billions of people have read the Bible. Why? Why are people dying to be Christian? Why did people die? The disciples of Christ died for Christ. Did you know that?
Yeah. That I know.
Yeah, but why? There's obviously something. This isn't just like a freaking random crap, right? This is like, there's a reason why the Bible's so popular. There's a reason why have been billions of Christians. There's a reason why people go to church. So I think what people need to understand is there's a reason why. So just submit and try. And I think what they're going to find, hopefully, is they get the Holy Spirit. Do you ever feel the Holy Spirit?
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't have to go to church to be a Christian, but you also don't have to go to the gym to be healthy, right? You don't have to, spend time with your kids for them to grow up happy. So that excuse of like, you don't have to is such a weak excuse. It's like, dude, you don't have to go to an office to be a good realtor, but it definitely helps, right? So
that right there is the banger. That you just said a lot of truth right there,
really?
Bro.
Yeah.
Once you start using analogies like that, it's like, oh fuck, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think so. I'm going off on a tangent, so I apologize. But
no, you go for it.
My wife, I told you the story about my mom in the house, right? As a young kid, I watched her buy a house, right? My mom used to go to church, and I used to have to go. And I would be like, dude, I don't want to go to church, bro. And I remember my wife, my mom would pay tithing. And I'd be like, why is she giving this church money, dude? Like, why? We're financially struggling, and I see her giving money, and I'm pissed. What?
I'm like, damn, like you still see her be like, we're struggling, but you're giving them money. We need the money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, okay. Yeah.
So my mom's leadership helped me years later without intentionally telling me to come to Christ. So your kids are watching you, and whatever you do now with God, they're going to pick up those habits. Just like you got your habits from your uncles, they're going to get your habits. So if you're not going to, for anyone listening to this, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your kids, because one day your discipline could rub off on them.
You're right about that. Man, that's some
I can
deep
go
stuff.
on and on, but yeah.
This is deep.
Yeah. Is
Now,
it deep?
y'all in for a treat over here. And when he said,
Is it that deep or no?
for me it is.
Why is that?
Because it gives you a different perspective. It's like, how many of us use that excuse?
I'm busy.
I'm busy. I'm this.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, but if you go to the gym, you're going, like when you start saying it like that, it makes a lot of sense. And I think, speaking for myself, I need to stop making excuses. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. And it's a good thing. That's the main
And
thing.
it's not like,
It's not
oh
a
my
guilt
God,
thing.
it's not like, dude, it's a
An
great
hour.
thing, like it's a great thing to be a part of.
That's what I'm saying. When you go to the gym and you leave, you usually feel good. You're like, all right. When you have a good community and you go to the office and you like your broker and you like these people, it's good. You like this office, right? It's good. So you need to find a church that you feel like, this is good. I like it. I like that my kids are seeing it. I like that all this is working together. And then after that, excuse me.
Bless you, sir.
After that, then I believe you start reading the Bible, and then there's just so much wisdom in there where you're like, damn, like, I didn't even know this was in there. I thought I knew the Bible, even though I never read it. I knew it was about Jesus and stuff. But when you start reading it, you're like, oh, wow.
I get it.
Yeah, you just learn life. And then you learn love, joy, peace, self-control.
And for me, it's easy because the church we go to is the school that my daughter goes to.
Yeah.
So it's like all the students, all her classmates are going to be there.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm the sponsor of the True Hustle podcast, the JR Group, baby. We do real estate. If you want to buy, invest, or any questions you might have about real estate, give us a call, 323-352-7955. 888-848-4646. Now let's get back to the episode, baby. Back to the real estate stuff.
Okay,
There's something I want to dissect.
Okay.
This new creative financing stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't when I first started investing in 2006.
Yeah.
There was no creative financing.
Yeah.
At all. Maybe hard money.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you think about
You started in 2006?
Yeah, I bought my first property in 2006.
Okay, got it.
And then the world ended in 2008.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty much what happened in real estate. So, what do you think about these programs, this creative financing with the wraparounds and with the sub twos and all that? Do you think that's something that simplifies things and it's easier to invest in real estate nowadays versus then?
Yeah, I think creative finance has always been around. And what most realtors don't understand too is like, I don't know, I haven't looked at the recent RPAs, but like I remember when I first started the residential purchase agreement, on the first page, it said like taking over the existing loan. Mm-hmm. So this has always been a thing. Mm-hmm. It's becoming more popular now because of like social media. So what creative finance is for people listening to this is like when you buy a house without using your own credit and you're not getting a loan from the bank. You're either taking over the seller's loan or you're creating a loan with the seller. So when I say creating a loan, let's say you have a house that's paid off and I'm like, hey, Junior, instead of me getting a loan from the bank and paying them 5%, why don't I just pay you the 5%? Mm-hmm. And if you agree, we agree on a length of time, and then I'm able to buy your house with the loan. I pay you every month instead of paying you your whole amount up front. The seller benefits from like not having to pay taxes on this huge amount at once. They can negotiate good terms so they get paid more than what that purchase price would normally be. And then I get the benefit of I don't have to have tax returns and credit and all these things, and I'm able to buy a house. So I'm probably
no financials, essentially. That's what
no financials. That's why people do creative financing. So I think
But you're referring right now to seller financing.
That's seller financing. And sub 2 is like, sub 2 means you buy it subject to its current mortgage. So again, if Junior has a house, and I'm actually talking to a seller right now in Beaumont, she has a house that's worth $550.
Okay.
It's been on the market for 6 months, right? The problem is she owes $525.
But
yeah. I
can see the problem.
Yeah. If she were to sell for $550, she's already paying money out of pocket with realtors, closing costs, all these things, right? And it hasn't sold. So it's not really worth $550. She needs to lower the price. It's probably worth close to what she owes. So if she were to sell, it costs about 6% to sell your house when it's all said and done. So 6% of, let's say, $500K is what, like $30K or something like that? She would have to pay a lot of money, long story short, to sell her house. Where I could say, hey, Mr. Seller, I will take over title. I will take over your payments, and I will pay the mortgage and I'll give you $5,000. So instead of you paying $30,000, I'll give you $5,000, or I'll just take it over and, now you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can just move because she wants to move. So that's the subject to route.
But the loan is still under her name.
The loan is still under her name.
And essentially all you're doing is switching title.
Exactly. You're switching title and you're leaving the loan in place. So that's how people with no money, no credit, none of that stuff can go out and buy houses.
Which is, considering where rates are at now, that's not a bad
yeah, it's not bad, yeah.
Because now you're assuming somebody's rate. Now you're assuming somebody's mortgage with a 3%.
Potentially, yeah.
3.5.
Yeah. Well, this one's at a 5.
Which is
still high, but the good thing is if I sell it to someone else and maybe they, whatever reason, they're an immigrant, they don't have tax returns, they get paid cash, whatever the situation may be, they could buy that house now without having to go to the bank and doing all these extra steps it takes to buy a house.
Yeah.
And they have a set mortgage, 30 years, it's in place, and they get rent it out or keep it.
Wholesaling.
Okay.
That is a trendy topic, and it's becoming more lucrative at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think that is, and do you wholesale?
Oh, yeah, I wholesale a lot. I think it's very lucrative because instead of saying, hey, Mr. Seller, please pay me 3% on this $500K house, right? Which is 3% is what, like 15 grand. I could say, hey, Mr. Seller, I'll pay this. I'll pay for this house $350. And if I can wholesale it for $400 and make that $50K spread, that's way better than trying to get 3%. So it's just about, you get paid more per transaction. So that's why I rather flip and wholesale, because I can make more per transaction and do less transactions. So yeah, wholesaling is really good, especially because you don't need a license.
Yeah.
It's all hustle and sales. It's all sales and marketing pretty much.
When do you distinguish which property you're going to wholesale versus which property you're going to flip?
So it's kind of a complex answer, but I would say for me, if the property's not somewhere where I want to flip, I immediately think this is a wholesale. So if it's in Los Angeles, I'm wholesaling it. If it's in Azusa, I'm wholesaling it. If it's somewhere where the regulations are very strict, I'm wholesaling it.
Smart.
If it's in San Bernardino County, Riverside County, it's vacant, it has a small rehab, and I could make more than $40,000 net, I'm going to flip it. If it has tenants, I'm going to wholesale it. If it has fire damage, I'm going to wholesale it. So it just depends deal by deal, like what do I think is like the best bucket to put it in?
So I think at this point, any tenant occupied properties are definitely a fucking pass for me.
So I have a property. So I've made a lot of money dealing with tenants. So the reason why is because of what you just said. Most people, they're like, tenant, I don't want to deal with that. But
especially in LA.
Yeah,
no.
LA.
Pass.
I will pass in LA. I'm on the same boat. But Riverside, San Bernardino,
It's a little bit better.
I'm like, okay, let me see what the situation is. So I actually have a house right now in Fontana that the tenant and the seller are just fighting. They're fighting. They're pissed off at each other. I bought the house. I own it right now, right? So I approached the tenant. I'm like, hey, Mr. Tenant, I'm about to evict you, unfortunately. Do you want to buy the house? Surprisingly, they're like, yeah, I want to buy it. Like, I wanted to buy it, but that stupid seller, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. You're going to get pre-approved. And if you don't, I'm going to evict you. And if you do get pre-approved, I will let you buy it for this much. So still below market value, because now I don't have to fix it up, but I still make a $40,000 profit. And then they went and got pre-approved. I'm like, okay, here's the offer. You better you sign it or move. They sign the offer. We're in escrow. We're going to sell it to the tenant, and make a good profit. And I've done that a few times already.
Really?
So what happens is like people, their minds just shut off, or they don't know the whole situation. Because sometimes especially when there's family living in houses, there's just so much tension between the people that they can't figure it out. So then they want to sell because they're just pissed. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So you just have to, ask questions, have a due diligence period so you could figure out the details of the deal, and then figure out how you could make money from it.
Yeah, but to me in LA, knowing what I know, in terms of the relocation fees and stuff like that, I'm like, fuck that. How long they been there? 20 years. I'm good.
Yeah. No, it's
automatic.
LA is tough. San Bernardino, Riverside is not bad.
And then I have a buy box, which is, around here.
What type of investing do you do?
Multifamily.
Okay, so what is
But
that?
it was 4 and up.
4 and up.
Yeah.
Now that's what you buy.
No, now it's changed. Now I'm building ADUs. So now I'm trying to get the shittiest house on the block, force the value, and build like 2 to 3 ADUs in the back.
Got it. And how much does that cost?
I mean, right now I'm gonna build 2. I shouldn't spend more than 3.
300,000.
Yeah.
You're gonna build 2 units. How do you get the 300K?
I have it.
Oh, okay.
So it's all.
So you just have to have it then.
Yeah.
Dang. Damn, son. But how do you scale that? So and then how do you?
The
scale
only way to scale that is if you do the BRRRR.
Are you gonna BRRRR it or no?
That one, I'd rather burn another one.
So you're just balling.
So I was like, remember we spoke, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I'm in a different stage in my life. So when I started investing, I didn't burn anything.
Yeah.
Because my active income was heavy.
Yeah.
Remember, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for me to refinance. I left it.
Yeah.
In a market like this, I get to reap all the benefits after 18 years of those shits just sitting there.
Oh, okay.
So
Damn,
now
you making me want to go out and buy some real estate right now.
you know what I'm saying? So now it's like I put myself in this position that now I could pick and choose
Yeah.
on where I could,
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay. Because the way I see it is like this. I only buy multifamily, right? Mm-hmm. The one that I'm building, those 2 ADUs, is a 3-unit. It's the smallest property that I own with the biggest lot. So I knew I was gonna build, I just didn't know when.
Where is it at?
It's right here in Linwood.
Oh, in Linwood. Okay.
So the strategy there was like, well, instead of for me buying 2 to 3 units and giving $300,000 down, why don't I just build 2 and be completely paid off? Because remember, I told you cash flow is important to me right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do more with my kids.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now it's like, I owe on that property, let's say 300.
Yeah. Why don't you just pay it off?
That's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't pay that one off
Why?
because it's a residential loan.
Oh,
I'm paying off my commercial loans right now.
because they have higher interest.
Giving you guys the
Hey.
So now I'm paying off the big ones
Yeah.
because those I have to refinance every fucking 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now it's all strategy for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm just seeing what I built, and now I'm just picking and choosing on what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build here. All right, how I'm gonna do that? Okay, I have the reserves for that. Boom.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna pay off this property. Well, I don't know. I just refinance this one. That's another commercial loan that's up anyways,
Yeah.
and I refinance this and pay this off. Now I have a free and clear asset that I can leverage later, and build these 2 units.
Yeah.
Just on those 2, it's like it's like $9,000 a month
Dang.
in fucking passive income.
Yeah.
Just off those.
I think lesson here, the game is to buy real estate and wait.
Absolutely.
I bet you when you bought that Linwood house, was it like the best deal ever?
You want to hear something funny about that deal? I pitched it to one of my buyers.
I said no.
I said, you need to buy this, man. Look, it's perfectly fucking. This was before SB9. This was before you could split lots.
Yeah.
I was like, man, look, if you could perfectly split this lot, you have a duplex on the left-hand side and a fucking SFR on the right-hand side. Trust me, buy it. He's like, you're crazy. $650? It's too expensive.
Yeah.
And I bought it. I told them, though, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
But they thought I was just trying to, like,
Hustle them.
hustle them. Like, dude, I don't need to hustle anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, and I bought it, and now it's going to be worth, like, 1 point something.
After it's
1.3.
fixed up?
Yeah.
Yeah. When did
Easy.
you buy it?
2019.
Oh,
Before.
okay. So
And I bought it with a 5.8 interest rate.
Yeah. So that's the point too. People are gonna hear that at first. They're like, "Well, he probably bought that house in Linwood when it was like $75,000." No,
No.
$650 is a lot for a single family house. That's a lot. And I bet you, I don't know, what was it worth when you bought it?
No, it was 3 units though. It was a duplex and an SFR, so it was like a standalone. The setup is beautiful, right? I think it was worth probably a little bit less, to be honest with you,
Then $650.
than $650. It was probably worth like $630.
So you overpaid for it.
I didn't. Well, I paid them what they were
Technically.
asking technically because I represented myself. Actually,
Yeah.
my wife represented me.
Yeah.
So,
But you
but
got paid for that.
the play was that big ass backyard.
Yeah.
I could build like 2-3 units back there.
Yeah.
And I seen that since I purchased. I purchased it with that reason.
Yeah.
I mean, for that reason. So I was like, I mean, I might not cash flow a lot right now because I had a 5.8 interest rate. Then I refinanced when it went down. When
Yeah.
they went down in 2020, I refinanced at 3.8.
Yeah. So I think that's the point is like people think they're going to just stumble across this amazing deal that just
No.
everything hits. But what happens is you buy a good deal, you bought a good deal, and then you wait, and then it turns better and better and better and better as time goes.
Absolutely.
So that's it's funny too, because when you ask me like, oh, when do you wholesale, when do you flip? I've had flips. I swear to you, I have one right now. I try to wholesale it, and everyone's like, no. And I'm like, dude, I'll buy it then. And I bought a mobile home right now for $80K in Cali Mesa. Okay. It's like Ukaipa area.
Yeah.
I bought it for $80K. That's just worth like $240. And I was trying to wholesale it for like $120. I was gonna try to make like a little $40K wholesale fee. No one wanted to buy it. No, and bro, you know what's so funny, bro? I have a decent following on Instagram. So I posted on my Instagram. I get all these new investors. I want to buy it. I want to buy it. I want to buy your deal, right? I send it to them. They all ghosted me. And I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Everybody always wants to buy something.
Yeah.
And then you send them the details and
yeah. And then they get cold feet. And then I'm like, all right, shoot, I'm gonna buy it myself. But I have so many deals like that where I've sent deals to people, they don't do it, and I do it, or I send it to someone else and they do it and they make money. And that's why, like, another lesson is like your biggest your biggest expense in business is lost opportunities. It's not your team, it's not your marketing, it's not your CRM. It's when you have deals and you just fumble them, or you have a seller you're supposed to call back and you just completely forget. And anyone in real estate should go back through their lost deals and look at all the people that they spoke to, or all the wholesale deals that were sent to them that they didn't buy, and look at what ended up happening to them. Because what I've seen is I've lost millions of dollars in real estate from just fumbling deals. From just straight fumbling deals.
And that's a bar right there.
Is it? Have you experienced that?
You know what? Man, I drive by this property a lot.
The sellers are like, the owners are like, who is this guy? This guy's a stalker, but you're just looking at the real estate.
It was 8 cottage style units.
In Big Bear?
No, right here in Linwood. I'm pretty big. That's one of my areas that I like to focus on. So it's like detached.
Yeah.
It's like it looked like a bunch of SFRs.
Yeah.
In this huge ass fucking lot.
Yeah.
Bro. I damn near had it accepted for like $850 back then.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what?
100K unit's crazy. In Linwood?
I was like, never mind. That shit just sold for like $2 million.
Oh my God. You lost $1 million on one deal.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
You know what? I just think it was on a main street. The problem with that deal is that I convinced myself that it wasn't a good deal when I fucking knew it was a good deal.
But why?
I don't know, man. Maybe I was working so much at the time. My thoughts were like, nah, I could get something better.
Yeah.
And it's like, why when this is good?
Yeah.
They're detached.
Yeah.
People don't even understand how good detached properties are. They're not attached. It's not like I own a lot of the ones that are attached, and they're a bit more of a headache, you know?
Yeah.
And I fumbled, bro. There's no other excuse.
Were they fixed up when they sold for $2 million?
They were decent.
When they sold for $2 million?
No, they sold for $8. I could have bought it for $825, and they sold for $2 million, and all they did was just fucking paint.
Yeah, so I was gonna say it's probably worth more if it would have been like done up right.
No, it wasn't even done up right. The roof was still fucked up.
Yeah,
and they still got that type of money.
How long did it take to go up that $1 million?
It took this. I was entertaining this in 2012, and it sold like in 2016.
So it's
4 years.
So it's probably worth even more now. So you lost $2 million on a deal.
Yeah. And all because
fumbled.
I fumbled. There's no other fucking excuse. Like I fumbled it. I should have fucking bought it.
Yeah.
And dude, at the time I wasn't even. Victor was representing me at the time, and then I fucking called him. I'm like, "Did you see that shit sold?" He's like, "Yeah, I sold them." What the fuck? I was like, so But it's just, if the opportunity presents itself, you need to execute, man.
100%. That's your shot. Everyone wants a shot, and they get shots, and then they're like, I'm going to wait. Interest rates are going to go down. The market's going to, later. And
you are 1,000% correct. Everybody wants a shot, then they get it, and they fumble it.
Yep.
Because they start fucking making all these excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, well, when Kamala gets elected, then things are going to change. Or if Trump this or Trump that.
Yeah.
And no, I'm just going to wait.
This realtor's making $10K.
Yeah, like, what does that even matter?
Yeah. This lender's charging me this origination fee. I've had people cancel deals because, like, what the realtor's making, what the seller's making. I've had literal people cancel deals because they're like, the seller bought this house for $500 and they're selling it for $550. No, that's
not fair.
Yeah.
What the does that have to do with you?
Yeah.
Here's something funny. In 2014, I bought 4 units here in Downey. Mm-hmm. Initially, I submitted the offer representing myself.
Yeah.
And then the agent called me like, I'm sorry, we have 8 offers, so we're probably not gonna accept the offer. And I said, well, then shred that motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And you write it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like super serious. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, copy exactly what I wrote, rewrite it, send it to me. I'll DocuSign it. You have my proof of funds. You have everything. Mm-hmm. I want that property. Mm-hmm. And I ended up buying it for like $690. 4 2s.
Yeah.
Same, my realtor buddies at the time were like, bro, you gave up a $20,000 commission? You're fucking crazy. I wouldn't have never done that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're thinking too small.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to wait and see. And this property in 10 years, it's going to be worth tons of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fast forward, it ain't worth no $690, bro. I'll tell you that.
What do you think it's worth?
Like 1.4.
Yeah. So you made $1 million on one deal.
I never refinanced it.
Yeah. So
I never refinanced it.
That's why you have to buy real estate and wait.
Yes. And people need to stop waiting. Everybody tries to time the market.
Yep.
I think it's a problem.
Yep. They're counting pockets and they're trying to time the market.
Like they know like what's best, like what's going to happen in 5 years.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen in 5 years for sure. It's going to appreciate.
Yeah.
So how do people sign up for your programs at Wealthy Way?
Yeah. So a couple things. Number one, I want to have you on my podcast right after this.
Let's go, baby.
So if you're still here, go watch me interview you because I want to go deep into your real estate thing because you've built wealth in an expensive market. And that's where I feel like most people struggle is they live somewhere where the house is not $80,000. Like you built wealth there. So only call to action, go watch that podcast. If people want me to coach them, they can go to the Brian Davila on Instagram and I will coach them on real estate investing.
There it is. It really no excuse.
Yeah.
If you wanna I don't want to say cut corners because that's not what we do. If you want to fast track and get into the real estate investing game without making all the mistakes that he's made, shit.
Yeah.
I would pay.
And only hit me up if you're a hustler. If you're a little crybaby, trust me, I won't take you on as a client. Like I honestly now, because I've gone through different stages where I'm like, dude, I'm signing up 1,000 people. Right now, I only want real people that are going to commit. I don't want to waste time with people that are like, well, Kamala. I don't care. Because no matter what, it's always the time. It's never going to be the right time for real estate. It's never going to be the right time to start a podcast. It's never going to be the right time to start going to church. It's never going to be the right time to start eating healthy. It's never going to be the right time for this. It's just now is the right time.
And it goes back to me buying in 2006.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, what are you doing? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I am.
And they probably called you out after the market crash. And I'm like,
yeah.
You see, Junior?
Hey, man, bro, you're going to lose that shit, bro. Well, guess what? That shit's about to be paid off. You know, sometimes I talk shit, but it's all good. Yeah. But my brother. Oh, actually, I want to close with this.
Okay.
I seen somebody say on social media, I don't know if it was you or Ryan, about like, man, we just have a bunch of soft entrepreneurs nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's true, though.
Oh, it is true. It's 100% true. They're entitled. They're soft. They're scared to take risk. They're just waiting.
Why do you think that is? They're just scared, or they're being influenced by others, or?
I think, I don't know if it's just like a generational thing. Cause like, I feel like my generation, there was no social media. So like, I wasn't like getting stimulated by like external things. I had to like go do things. I had to be out and make friends and have experiences. And now people could just sit back and kind of watch. Back when I was younger, if you talked crap, you would get hit. Like there was no like, oh, let me
about to get punched.
Yeah. For reals, right?
No, yeah, that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I'm not used to these net bangers. That's what they call them, right?
Yeah. So I think like people get lost in like social media, and they think that social media is real, and they think they did something that day because they watched a video on investing, but they didn't. So like that's true. I promise you, I've coached people, and I'm like, what'd you do this month? Well, I've been watching videos. I've been watching Pace, and I've been watching Ryan, and I've been watching you. And I'm like, but what did you do? You did nothing.
There's no action.
There's no real life. Like that's why I think people are soft. They're getting entertained, and they're living on social media, but it's not the reality of life.
I mean, the whole point would be to learn from you, learn from Ryan, learn from the Thatches, learn from, and apply that shit. Not just sit there and get entertained and just continue to sit there.
Yeah, and they're just distracted, and they're entitled. They think everyone's going to win. They think other people should make more money than them. But in like, I don't know. It's like a weird mindset, because even sometimes when I hear people hate on Trump, I'm like, they're like, oh, did you know that he had a steak business that failed, and he had this other thing that failed? I'm like, yeah, when you're an entrepreneur, things fail. Crazy, right? When you're a serial entrepreneur and you start businesses, sometimes they fail. I've experienced that. Ryan has experienced that. Other real entrepreneurs, Elon Musk has had things that failed, but they're like, oh, well, he filed bankruptcy. Yeah, that shit happens. Like, but I don't know. People are just weird. I get a lot of hate sometimes on my comments, and I'm like, people are so weird. Like they don't.
It's just social media. It's its own. It's like a different world sometimes.
Or they're like, "Oh, you're a real estate investor. You're jacking up the house pricing, and you're you're taking advantage of people." I'm like, dude, what?
It's usually the ones that ain't got shit going for them.
Always.
That are going to be talking shit.
Anyone that hates is hating on someone doing better than them.
Like, I'm fucking doing something for the community here. I'm fixing this shit.
Yeah.
This shit is like shit.
Yeah.
We're doing something.
Yeah. Even me, if I'm ever throwing shade, it's never at someone doing less than me. I'm throwing shade at Dave Ramsey. I'm like, man, this guy sucks, but he's balling. He's super, super wealthy.
I'm like, Dave, your strategy does not work in California, Dave.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's from where? From Mississippi or I don't know,
Arkansas.
somewhere. Yeah.
He had a podcast. I know we got to go, but he just had a podcast. You should react to the clip where he said to not get a credit card. Don't get credit, because your credit will go to zero, and then you could get a manual underwriting with a lender, and that's how you could buy a house. He's literally telling.
What?
Yeah, I just.
He said that on a video.
He just said that. I watched it on my way here. It was crazy. I was like, what?
Fuck! I want to see the comments on that one.
Yeah,
I bet you they're going crazy.
I'll send it. It would be a good reel.
Hell yeah! I'll react to it.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. Well, my brother, all the way from Las Vegas. You know, like we appreciate you stopping by, and I'm sure that we're going to have another great session on your podcast. So I appreciate you stopping by, and we out, guys.